But like you were saying, those initial relationships, somebody gifted me some money. They gifted me £5,000, and that was enough for me to rent a space. So I was then able to have, and it was this little tiny gym studio, and I thought, this is it, we've made it, and this is what it's going to be like now forever. You could maybe train 8 people if you could, like, it was a studio, it was tiny. And ARC was really birthed from there. Started running programs again, more of them in the evening again. Demand started to grow, and we started building up traction. And again, the social media aspect and that sort of stuff was always very visible. I decided really early on that I wanted to be really visible in what I was doing, because I think that's important, because it's back to that whole thing with addiction and recovery being in the shadows. And we need to be able to bring it out and have grown-up conversations about it.
And isn't that one of the contradictions? I love that, because I always tell people recovery is about visible. We do recovery marches, we do all that stuff, and the treatment programs. And you must have been the same in your nursing settings. They're almost the opposite. It's confidential. We don't have any label on the door. Let's just hide everything away so no one sees anything. Yes.
And that was the big thing. Like, how do we expect people to reach forward, put out their hand and say they're struggling if they feel that they don't have the permission to be able to do that? So let's give people the permission to be, do you know what, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think what happened, because I was actually coming in there as a nurse, there was something else. There was something a little bit about that kind of changed the dynamic. I think it opened more doors and more options. Now, I'm not saying it has to be the way. I'm saying that was the way that it was for me. And I had managed to build good connections where I had worked and stuff as well. But we had then found this little hub, which was great. And, I was getting busier and trying to manage more people that were trying to come through. And then we then created a community. And communities can be really difficult to manage. Okay, they're a pleasure to be part of, but can be really difficult to be the person that's trying to navigate that. So as it grew, I realized something needed to kind of change, and I managed to get a little bit of funding that allowed me to drop one day at work, and that's how I started. So then I was able to drop a Friday. So Friday was my art day, and then Friday just wasn't enough. And we progressed a bit more, and eventually got some more funding and went part-time. But COVID happened in and around the beginning of that setup, so which was really frustrating. And again, I think I'm pretty resilient, but COVID was tough for me, because I thought I'd started to get something or somewhere with this, and now this is just happened.
As you're getting going, everyone's locked down, and you can't actually be a physical community with each other. Yes.
But then the interesting thing was it actually turned on its head, because because of time and availability, instead of just being able to have these 2 classes, I now had access to a virtual world where we could have 6 classes a week online, because people could do it from their house. We were able to do 1 group therapy session to 3 or 4 group therapy sessions a week. We were able to connect more. So we actually grew through lockdown even more again. And I think I had to do a lot of development on myself, because I started to realize that this was starting to become, the organization and what it was. And I wouldn't have been a speaker or a confident public speaker. And I decided I was going to make a thought for the day, every day, for lockdown. So there was about 300 thoughts for today floating about there on YouTube, just literally just thoughts about different aspects of recovery, because I had the time. And they started to really resonate with people. And then the demand grew even more. And then we secured more funding. Now, this is like the whirlwind thing of this. We secured more funding then. And we've got to the point now where we're almost 5 years down the line, Wolf, and we have 6 full-time members of staff. We have a team of 14, 6 are full-time. Within the team, we have 3 mental health nurses, 2 therapists. But the majority of the people who work there have lived a meaningful experience of addiction, which is really important. And we pay people for the work that they do, because I think, again, that's something that I found really, and you touched on it, people in recovery want to give back all the time, and they want to give of their time all the time. And I think that's really important. But I think you need to be able to value the experience of people.
Yeah.
So it was really important that we treated those people as facilitators and actually paid them for their time.
I said this to someone the other day, I facilitate people to get involved in consultation for research. And I insist we pay people, and we've developed that idea because it's just a different form of expertise. That's what we're asking. So it's important that it's valued. So yeah, very good. Yeah, really important. Yeah.
Because I think you run the risk then of kind of burning people out or overusing them or taking advantage, because people are so kind. Whenever somebody gets, recovery, as we talk about it, and they're full of life and they're full of wanting to help, and they will give you everything. But I think you need to be kind of fair about that. It needs to be equitable as well.
But it's also that infectious quality, that the bit that we want, the bit that we're spreading. If we don't value it, then we still perpetuate a myth in which saying, actually, it's still not as important as the professional route, rather than it's an equal part of the jigsaw.
Exactly.
We don't want to dismiss it. We all need a detox. We all need a rehab at some point in time in our life.
Yeah.
But we also all need the recovery as well. And it's like, we don't want to be in a position of just devaluing it. So
not at all. And those people are some of the most important people, in my life and in my organization.